Hello YouTube and Patreon, this is Nathan P. Butler, and this is our project update for the month of September 2019. It is September 26th as I record this. Our last of these was on August 28th. So basically a month minus a couple of days has passed since our last one, and actually a lot of new stuff has come out. Stuff that was in the works at the time of the last recording when not a whole lot had come out, has now finally sort of breached the gates and gotten out there. And speaking of gates, colored baby gates, basically made out of playpins that you've sort of unraveled, that's apparently a good thing for protecting a collection. Although, as soon as a baby who's already pretty tall for his age gets taller, gonna have to figure out something else to protect the collection on the higher shelves. But maybe by that point it'll be, hey, you have your toys, Daddy has his, no touchy. Yeah, we'll see how well that goes. Anyway, first off, before we get into anything about the new projects, the new releases that have come out, let's take a quick moment to thank all those who are backers over on my Patreon. That, of course, is patreon.com/NathanPButler. In the Travelers Through the Butlerverse tier, that is that $1 tier. Basically, you get the thanks on here in the credits officially, but I always try to say thank you out loud while it's still a manageable amount. And we'll wind up getting a thanks in the next edition of my A Saga on Home video. When it finally comes out, who knows when that will be, sometime in the next year, 2 years, whatever. I'm hoping for shortly after Rise of Skywalker hits home video, but somehow I doubt it unless I get a lot more productive really, really fast. The Travels of the Butlerverse are S.W. Chris, Austin Pierce, Martin Dahl, and Ben P. Stein. So thank you very much. Those who are in that next tier up, the Denizens of the Butlerverse, by far the largest group of Patreon supporters here, they get access to not only what the first tier gets, but also get access to those commentaries, those audio commentaries you can download and listen to while watching things like Forces of Destiny Volumes 1 and 2, or the Clone Wars. Eventually there'll be more as well. With the Clone Wars, of course, that's where most of our newest commentaries have come out. Haven't had a chance to touch something like Forces of Destiny in a while, but as I get more recording ahead of time done, I'll be trying to get more to the Forces of Destiny stuff just to wrap that stuff up sometime soon. I keep saying that. I am trying to do so. I'm thinking that may be like a Thanksgiving week kind of project, when we're actually told to tell the students, we're not touching it, don't expect us to touch it, as the teachers. That is the computer system since I teach online. So, the Denizens of the Butlerverse who have access to all of those commentaries include Jason Hunt, Bobby Craig, Robert Medina, Chris Morgan, Sam Howard, Stephen M., Joey Zitzman, Jeff Ellis, Chris Lewis, Jeremiah Mustard, Nathan W. Mortimer, Gary Sherwood, and newcomer, welcome aboard, Kyle Pellegrini. I hope I said your name right there. Then, of course, we have the $10 a month tier, and again, I say per month, that's if it's on a continuing basis, but basically as soon as you jump into it for a month, you got access to all the stuff at that level, whether it was from while you were at that tier or before. So you got access to all that stuff. The $10 tier, that's the Nobility of the Butlerverse. They get all the stuff that earlier tiers get, but they also get that exclusive monthly Q&A video where they get to ask questions, and I hammer away at all of them within that monthly question and answer session. The video version of a question and answer session, I guess you'd call it. Those folks include Andrew Bettis, Benjamin Handelman, Ennis, Jonathan Comfer, and Brian Snook. So thanks to all of you who are backers on Patreon. Hopefully, if you are not, you might consider that at some point. And we're just about to the point with the Clone Wars commentaries that we've hit that time jump. But that brings us to new posts, new releases through Patreon first. Again, patreon.com/NathanPButler. And since our last release, on September 1st, we had the commentary released for the Clone Wars episode Assassin. Then on the 15th, the commentary for the Clone Wars episode Arc Troopers. In between, on September 3rd, we had the release of the exclusive Q&A video for the Nobility of the Butlerverse. Those, by the way, are interesting to watch, even if you aren't necessarily asking the questions. So it is something to perhaps consider from time to time. The next commentary will be on October 1st, which will be Sphere of Influence, which, given the fact that I include the Clone Wars film in the numbering, will be the 50th Clone Wars commentary released through my Patreon, because we are going in chronological order. Sphere of Influence is the 50th story if you count the film as one of them, or 49th if not counting the film. Then on October 15th, we pick up with Evil Plans. Then jumping into November, that'll give us the Hostage Crisis and Hunt for Zero episodes, which means that once we hit December, we're past the time jump and into the latter chronological episodes of the Clone Wars, which will be pretty cool. Meanwhile, as you know, probably, I'm involved in a couple of different podcasts at this point. I am one of the two hosts of Star Wars Beyond the Films with Mark Herleman, where we talk about Star Wars stories like, could be legends, could be canon, could be movies, though not usually, or if we do, it's in the context of other things, comics, books, video games, stuff like that. And Star Wars Beyond the Films actually had a new episode that was pretty big, apparently, pretty impactful, it seems, compared to some of our other recent episodes since the last update. So on August 31st, we released Star Wars Beyond the Films episode number 243, Star Wars 5 years post-Disney. It was sort of a chance to stop, take a breath, and look back at where Star Wars stands and where it has been, how it has gotten here over the last 5 years since Lucasfilm was bought by Disney and they had the reboot and gave us a new story group driven canon, whereas Legends was sort of set aside as this alternate continuity to sort of sit there and only grow through the Old Republic at that point, the Old Republic MMO. We tried to be objective. We tried to be funny. We had a lot of folks, though, asking us for episodes like this, particularly a couple of people whose suggestions really kind of struck a nerve with us. So we decided we would set aside our plan for Alphabet Squadron to be our next episode and hit this topic instead. Now, I'm guessing Alphabet Squadron will still be our next episode, but we also have other stuff we want to be trying to get through as well, like Thrawn Treason and whatnot. But yes, there was a new episode of Star Wars Beyond the Films. There was also a new episode of Cloud City Casino, which, of course, I am on with Michael Morris. I think of him as the main host and me as sort of the co-host at this point. But Cloud City Casino put out episode number 92. Now, if you actually look at the names of the episodes, it looks like it was posted accidentally under the same name as the previous episode, but the previous one was number 91 back in July. Okay, so you want episode number 92 if you are looking for it. And this one is sort of a catch-all of news. We talk about the art book for Jedi Fallen Order. We talk about the limited run games, Star Wars game releases. We talk about a whole bunch of new news on Fantasy Flight things. So if you're interested in Star Wars gaming, you ought to check out Cloud City Casino. Both of those, of course, are on StarWarsReport.com. That episode, number 92 of Cloud City Casino, came out on September 16th. Then, of course, most of the stuff that I put out at this point tends to come out through YouTube. So, what was it? So it was a big month, actually, for YouTube releases, particularly for From the Star Wars Home Video Library. The reason for that, of course, is what I mentioned in the last update, me recording a ton of episodes, like 20 or something episodes back on August 4th, and then just slowly but surely, as I got time, getting a chance to actually edit them and release them. Not a lot of which happened in August, but quite a bit of which happened here in September. In fact, at this point, there's only 3 of those left unedited that I need to edit and get out, which will be coming out fairly soon, hopefully after this update comes out. Those are the ones for the South Korean Blu-ray, Blu-ray 3D, and Ultra HD 4K Blu-ray releases of Rogue One, The Last Jedi, and Solo. Okay, there's quite a few of those, but I managed to put those into 3 separate episodes. But what came out since the last update? What is already on the channel for you to check out now? Well, the first release since the last update was number 210 of From the Star Wars Home Video Library, which looked at the Betamax Video Rental Library editions from the US, because I got a better copy of it, from the UK, and from Australia, all in the same release. In episode number 211 of From the Star Wars Home Video Library, we looked at the Betamax 1980 release of The Making of Star Wars, something I had shown you in the 79 and 80 versions on VHS, but never before in Betamax form. We then, in episode 212, looked at some Australian VHS releases, sort of a smattering of those, New Hope, some prequels and stuff like that, kind of all lumped together. In episode 213, we took a look at something we took a look at before. We basically had previously looked at one of the DVD releases and one of the VHS releases of the Best of the Muppet Show Volume 2 that has a Star Wars episode, the Stars of Star Wars episode in it. And there were 2 others, one more DVD and one more VHS that I managed to get my hands on and show you guys that. So we had the context of all 4 of them. Episode number 214 was the SPFX, or Special Effects Special Laserdisc out of Japan. Episode 215 took a look at the press screener as opposed to the fan site screener or the Emmy screener of Star Wars The Legacy Revealed on DVD. Then number 216 looked at the Woolworths UK exclusive Darth Vader figure that you would have gotten back in 2006 as a free gift with some Star Wars home video purchases. In episode 217, we looked at the VHS rental copy of Attack of the Clones from Japan. Then after a few days, dove right back into it with episode number 218 for the Clone Wars Blu-ray Steelbook for the Clone Wars film from the Netherlands, which was an interesting find and an expensive find, frankly. Episode number 219 looked at a couple of promotional items for the early home video releases of The Phantom Menace. And then we kind of stepped back and had to kind of take a break. Back on August 4th, all those episodes were recorded with me wearing the Daddy Shark shirt. But we got to a point where, I've been sitting on the home video release of Season 1 of Resistance for a while. Because I had all these other episodes recorded, so I hadn't recorded about it. I didn't feel as pressing a need to record about it until I got those done. But then came September 22nd, 2019, which is when the biggest Star Wars home video blitz ever happened without any official announcement whatsoever. September 22nd was when Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment, and thank you to Pixar Man for pointing out that that's the official name now. I kept calling it Walt Disney Home Video for a while. That was when they had this huge thing. It's just a blitz. The biggest Star Wars home video blitz ever. 20 new releases on a single day. That was all 10 of the live-action films in a DVD-only version, and all 10 of the live-action films in a Blu-ray/digital combo pack, the multi-screen edition, which are basically repackages of old discs, sometimes with new labels, but the first time for the original 6 to be put out at all through Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment instead of through 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment. And the first time they ever included pack-in digital copies, though it's the same digital copies you could have gotten going all the way back to 2015. That was a huge deal. It was sort of a stealth release. There was no official announcement of it whatsoever. We were still just trying to figure out if they even existed as of the morning of the 22nd, because there were rumors about it being out on the 22nd, or the 23rd, or the 24th, or the 25th. Who knew? And where? Were they exclusive to somewhere? Huge mystery, and I ran around like crazy with my son on the 22nd, between about 9 o'clock in the morning or 9:30 in the morning, all the way up to 2 in the afternoon, and managed to acquire all 20 of them. And because there was so little official announcement, there needed to be some clarity, and this was a big deal kind of launch release, even though it got no press, or no official press whatsoever, it seems. I went through and said, forget it, we'll break up those Daddy Shark episodes. I'm going to record for Resistance, I'm going to record for the new releases, put those out, then we'll go back to those August 4th recorded episodes with the Daddy Shark shirt. So, on September 23rd, we had From the Star Wars Home Video Library number 220, which is Resistance Season 1 on DVD. And then, for those who are hunting it, because it's probably the most useful of the videos on the channel right now for recent viewers, and it certainly has the most views. Most of my videos, if they're from the Star Wars Home Video Library and they're fairly new, we're looking at views in the, few hundreds or so. As of the time I'm recording this, my video about the new releases is about to break 3,000. So about 10 plus times more views than any of the other stuff. So again, that is From the Star Wars Home Video Library number 221, entitled All 20 September 2019 Reissues, but that is the video that breaks down all those releases from earlier this month. The multi-screen edition Blu-ray/digital copy versions of all 10 live-action films, plus the DVD-only versions, and it's all in one video, looking at all of them, and where they stand in terms of milestones, in terms of Star Wars home video, what they reissue, that sort of thing. So you can sort of make an educated decision if you decide to go out looking for them. All right, then it was back to the Daddy Shark shirt episodes from August 4th, and we took on number 222 with the South Korean Disney-era DVDs. So that's the DVD releases of The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, Rogue One, and Solo from South Korea. Then episode 223 took a look at The Force Awakens DVD release that came with a t-shirt in the box. Sort of an unusual product out of Thailand, of all places. We also looked at the 2004 DVD releases from the UK for the original trilogy that have a different coloring meaning for silver and gold than in the US. That was episode number 224 From the Star Wars Home Video Library. And then the most recent video released as of the time I'm recording this was episode number 225, which was a look at the French Clone Wars Complete Seasons 1 through 5 DVD set with the Funko Pop Yoda, the counterpart to the Blu-ray set. That is that one as the Blu-ray set, that one as the DVD set, right? If you could even see that with me quasi-turning around there. But you can see it on the channel, of course, episode number 225. Again, at this point, I have 3 more recorded from then, and I do have a few more things to record soon to continue on with that series. We've got some stuff, let's see, a little bit of stuff out of Turkey again. We've got a special Clone Wars release out of Canada that was a Walmart exclusive that comes with a book. We're going to look at the mini version of the book and then the regular size version of the book. We've got, we've got a French-Canadian, French-language copy of The Making of Star Wars that we're going to take a look at. So there is more stuff sitting here for us to look at very soon from the Star Wars Home Video Library. But I'm going to work my way through the last of those ones recorded back in August first, and then I'll start taking a look at what's going to come in the next wave of that. But thanks to all that recording, we went from what? Episode number 210 all the way up through episode number 225 from the Star Wars Home Video Library, all in the span of 1 month. I think that is a pretty good number. I think that's a lot, given how much I've been able to put out recently. So, beyond that, what else is going on? I am still working on the second edition of A Saga on Home Video. I did have one day where I could have recorded, but since I already had a bunch of those recorded, I didn't, and instead took a whole bunch more pictures for the second edition of this. So those are waiting to be edited and inserted into the second edition working file. Mostly from the end of VHS, beginning of DVD type era. And then, of course, if you haven't checked it out yet, my book, Greater Good and Echoes, that is my time travel story, Greater Good, the full-length novel and the novella Echoes, the murder mystery, together in one volume from Archbeetle Press. This, of course, is out on Amazon at this point. You can get it in physical form, a little bit heavier, a little bit hefty, because it's 2 pretty big stories in one, of course, but the Kindle copy can be found for a steal. So if you're interested in some fiction, you might check out Greater Good and Echoes, but make sure you look for that whole name, Greater Good and Echoes, or you might find the previous copy of Greater Good that does not include Echoes at all. Echoes is seeing its first time in print there in about 10 years since I did a self-published copy many, many moons ago, and it's much better and revised now in that copy. So, I think that'll do it for us for this month's update. Again, lots of YouTube stuff, an episode of each podcast, and of course the stuff on Patreon still keeping up. I think this was actually a really good month. I don't know how the heck I'm going to keep up with that for the next month, but we'll see. I like to do a live stream through Facebook that I could share to the pages for Beyond the Films and Cloud City Casino of Vader Immortal Episode 2 that just dropped on Quest. Came out last night, played through it last night. Fun stuff, albeit kind of short. I'd like to get more episodes from the Star Wars Home Video Library done. I actually have some X-Wing products sitting in the next room that I'm about to go in there and record the videos for, so probably actually before this episode actually gets released on YouTube, because I don't have to edit the X-Wing ones usually, you will also see X-Wing product overview videos for all the stuff in Wave 5. That's the wave with the Ghost and Punishing One in it. You'll see 6 videos back-to-back of those. And then, yeah, I still have some stuff. I still have that thing for Proving Grounds that I haven't edited that I really need to finally get to editing. But then I've got a bunch of games I want to try to get videos done of, like Gloom of Kill 4th Second printing with its expansions and whatnot. Lifeform has arrived. Nemesis Wave 2 should be arriving soon. Shard Hunters is coming. Just a bunch of stuff I'd like to get to when time permits. Usually it's pretty late at night, but as long as the baby stays asleep while I'm recording, it's good. I'll just suffer with a little bit less sleep. With that, though, thank you very much for your interest, and I will catch you in next month's update. Thanks again.